I'm here to talk about the B Corp movement. I don't know how many of you have heard about it, maybe not many. In Romania, it's not so famous yet. But hopefully that will help for you to raise awareness around it. And I wanted to start with a question, would you be able to guess what is the common point between all those elements here? So you can see, for example, some plant-based milk that was also served downstairs. You can see some hair care products, some water bottles. And then here you can see a group of people that are highly energized, maybe even more than here, and that all have a passion in common. And I actually was somewhere there in that group. It was in 2019 in Amsterdam. And it was my first time getting to know about the B Corp movement. And I came from this event with a sort of aha moment of thinking, it's possible. We can change the economic system to benefit all the people and the planet. And that was such a huge, huge, huge feeling for me that I felt with the power of a collective, I was not on my own anymore, but I was supported to change the way business was done. And that's the story that I'm here to tell you about. If this works, yes, it does.
Throughout history, humankind has created a multitude of different economic and social systems. And while systems are complex, the truth is they were built by people, so they can be changed by people. We can transform from profiting only the few to benefiting all. From extraction to regeneration, and from individualism to interdependence. It is not an unreachable ideal. It is the reality that we, the B Corp movement, are already building. Together, we're transforming the global economy to benefit all people, communities, and the planet. Together, we'll realize our vision of an inclusive, equitable, and regenerative world. Join the movement.
I like to have that video because I feel sometimes just talking doesn't make it, but visuals and art also plays a big role. And this movement that you were just seeing just before in the video is what I was talking about, the B Corp movement. Why was it created and why do we talk about changing the economic system is because we believe that there is a lot of inequalities and a lot of issues that the economic system has a power to actually solve. And we also know that society expects business to actually act, which might not be the case in the common way of considering capitalism today. But what you can see already here is, for example, that 86% of society thinks that business should stand up and be responsible for their impact. So we see momentum rising and recognition that indeed business have a role to play. And the type of format and system that we're promoting within the B Corp movement is the notion of what we call stakeholder capitalism against shareholder capitalism. And yes. So what we want to move from is going from extraction to regeneration, from benefiting a small group of people that are shareholders to a larger group of stakeholders. So consumers, employees, communities, the environment itself being a stakeholder. And this is a type of governance that we think is possible, and this is what the B Corp movement is embodying. So that vision that you've seen before is really about that inclusive, equitable, and regenerative system. And that is the uniting goal and vision that we all have within the movement. In order to do that, it's not easy. You don't change a system within just a few steps. But we really try to act at all the different levels. And we understand that first, we need the culture to change. If businesses are not convinced that they have a role to play in the first place, then no one will actually do it. If the behavior doesn't change, and then once we are convinced we don't actually measure and improve their impact, then nothing is going to change. And if we don't change the infrastructure and the law and regulations, then we will never be able to put it at scale and institutionalize that other way of doing business. So within the B Corp movement, and B Lab being the non-profit organization managing this community, we really try to act on all those different levels, which is not easy, but we believe that we all have a role to play, and that by enabling all of them, we are able to change the economic system. We have three main blocks of the movement that are really important to know. The first one is that we have a holistic framework of standards. Those standards are actually helping companies and individuals within companies to know what it means to measure your impact and to improve it. And this is a holistic framework because we consider that impact has to look at all the different dimensions and not just only one, and they're all connected. The second is on the legal requirement to protect all the stakeholders. And that one is also very important because it's not just about what we do, but it's about being accountable for the impact that we're having. The third one is that it's a community of leaders, impact-driven leaders, because we believe that everyone, again, has a role to play by advocating, by showcasing that it is possible to do it differently. And we want to show with positive change. This is a movement that is at global nature. We have actually representation across all the 6 different continents. So it doesn't just come from one region and then impose on the other, but it's actually a huge diversity of opinions and representation across the world. And we believe in that global nature of bringing that change. We have our standards that are available through a tool that we call the B Impact Assessment. And that tool has about 200 questions, depending on the size of a company. It's being used by more than 240 people across the world to measure the impacts. It's still little compared to the size of the economic system, but it's actually very encouraging, and it has risen so much in the past year with the raise of awareness, and I'm really happy to see that more and more people are willing to take action by first measuring their impact. The tool is organized around 5 main pillars. I talked earlier about the stakeholders. So any company that wants to measure the impact will be able, with the tool and the standards, to understand what does it mean in regards to their workers, what does it mean in regards to their communities, what does it mean in regards to their consumers, the customers themselves, and what does it mean in regards to environment, being a stakeholder on its own. And then the governance, linking all the different elements. It's not just about being CSR on the side, it's about an integrated approach and making sure that at the core, the heart of a business, we take into account that strategy and all the benefits of the stakeholders. Businesses can assess, compare with others, because what impact means if you're not able to compare to a company that is from the same size, of the same geography, or from the same sector. So that is what companies are able to do in our movement, and able also to partner with each other in doing that. And more than important than ever, they're able to improve themselves, because it's really about not just measuring, but then taking action and continuously improving their impact. Every company that chooses to become a B Corp then goes through the assessments, meets a number of 80 points minimum, get verified, and they have to change their legal status, but also to sign this interdependence thread. And the interdependence scheme that we have is really important. We talked already about the beginning, but I want to take the time to read it for you because I find it's a very strong and powerful commitment. We envision a global economy that uses business as a force for good. The economy is comprised of new type of corporation, the B Corporation, which is purpose-driven and creates benefits for all stakeholders, not just shareholders. This is what I was just talking about. As B Corporation and leaders of this emerging economy, we believe that we must be the change that we seek in the words, leading by example. That all businesses ought to be conducted as if business and people and place matter. That through their products, practices, and profits, businesses should aspire to do no harm and benefit all. To do so requires that we act with the understanding that we are each dependent upon another and thus responsible for each other and future generation. And that concept of interdependence is really at the heart of everything that we do within the B Corp movement. We have today more than 7,500 companies that have chosen and succeeded in certifying as B Corps. I keep on talking about that B, and you see B everywhere. The B stands for benefits for all. Those companies have gone through the process that I just mentioned, but they're also, a spoiler alert, those companies are not perfect. They're actually here because they went through that process, they changed their legal status, and they're committing to that declaration that I just showed before, and they're also committing to continuous improvements. So they are on a journey, and that's really important. Impact is not a goal in itself. Impact is a journey of continuously improving. There is a huge diversity of B Corps across the world. As any company can certify, whether it's a very small company, a very large enterprise. You see like here different industries. Some of them are subsidiaries of bigger corporations, like Danone being in process of certifying its entire subsidiaries. So there is really like a lot of different diversity, but they have one unifying goal, which is a vision that I mentioned before. We've seen the rise of the interest in the movement in the past years, and this has grown specifically in the recent years, where we doubled, as you can see, the momentum and the number of companies getting certified. Within 2 years, we received more than 6,000 applications to become a B Corp. And what we are really proud about is not just about having yet another certification, but this is what it means behind. But companies are measuring and improving their impact, and that they are joining a movement to really show that it is possible to do business differently. We have a community, of course, in Europe, among others, and those numbers are from 2022, so it has already increased. Unfortunately, and I hope this will change in the future, we do not have in Romania a very strong presence, but I do hope that with the pride of Romanian people in their local heritage and that interest into like nature and people and communities, this would also change. And as I said before, and that spoiler alert, B Corps are not perfect, but they are really driven by continuous improvement. Every B Corp has to recertify every 3 years, every cycle. And when they recertify, we have in average 8.3% of a score that keeps on improving. So that shows that they don't just get the point to the label and then they stop. No, it's actually the entry points to keep on partnering and improving themselves. They partner, they improve themselves in their operations, in their business model, which is a really, really important point, but also on the environment and all the different aspects. So this is really an important point of the movement. And lastly, that movement is also about advocacy and collective power. That's also what I started with, that power of feeling that you're not on your own, that on your own you cannot change the system, but then at some point you reach a social point, a tipping point, and then you can actually be stronger together. So we do have campaigns to raise awareness. We had one in COP, for example, to act for people to understand that it's everyone's job to act for the planet. We have partnership with organizations to help them improve on their carbon footprint. We have some B Corps also joining in industry coalitions like beauty in the cosmetics industry. So this is just a glimpse of what the movement is and all the opportunities and the amazing potential that it can have. So if you want to learn more, it's really difficult to say everything in 15 minutes, but hopefully at least transmitting that passion that is really driven by the movement, please do not hesitate to go on the website, or even if you have a company and you want to check the standards themselves and get to take action, to actually go into the impact assessments and to start measuring and improving your impact today. Thank you.